Hello and welcome to Manly Beach in Sydney, New South Wales for the FIVB World Tour of Beach Volleyball. My name is Jonathan Fogarty. It is a privilege to be here, but it's even better to be here with my dear friend Kerry Pothurst. Kerry, good morning to you.
Good morning, Jonathan. This is by far my favourite event of the year. Manly Beach in all its glory with beach volleyball.
This is your backyard. I love what you've done with the place. And I tell you who else loves it, Japanese and Chinese volleyball fans. I hope you're watching because we've got a really good women's round of 16 matchup. The Japanese combination, Ayumi Kusano and Takemi Nishibori. No strangers to Australia. They've been out here before, these lovely ladies. And the Chinese combination, Fan Wang and Shinji Sha. We are ready to go. Japan versus China. Sudden death loser takes 9th place. Winner goes through to a quarter-final. Japanese girls in the black. They're on the right of screen. China in the red. So should be a really good one. Japan v China, really different styles of beach volleyball, Kerry.
Yeah, Japan generally great at defence. You'll see them touch a lot of balls just like that. And then they have a look around and they can really see the court well. So they're a little bit shorter than Chinese girls. Chinese got a lot of height over the top of them. They'll be able to hit the ball a bit harder, be a bit more aggressive. But they'll have to do that. They'll have to get it in between the Japanese girls if they're going to win a point, or out to the sides to the lines.
Japanese not noted for being big blockers, big physical presence at the net, but they're really crafty and they find a way to get the ball down really well. So really looking forward to this one, folks. Hope you're enjoying the coverage and the pictures. It is, I've said it before, Kerry, you can tell me I'm wrong, but I've rarely seen a more perfect morning for beach volleyball on this stretch of sand. It just looks absolutely gorgeous out there.
Yeah, I can tell you about a week ago I was a little bit worried about the weather. It wasn't looking great, and traditionally in Manly, for some reason, we haven't had great weather for the last few years, but this is certainly an incredible day. The athletes will be loving it. Except for when they make plays like that, but they'll be loving the weather. It's not too windy, there's a slight breeze, it's not too hot, it's low 20 degrees. The sand is beautiful here in Manly, it's not too deep, it's just right, and you know, I think all the players have really enjoyed their time here so far, and hopefully they'll stay in the tournament a little bit longer.
It's a Goldilocks day here for beach volleyball. Not too hot, not too cold, just right. So China on the left of the screen in the red. See the scoreboard there. It's only early days. This is the first set. The Japanese team out in big numbers. I really love, Kerry, what they've done. They have got their home Olympics coming up in 2020, and they have said, we're going to pull together a squad, men and women, and they've just come to everything, aren't they? They are just absolutely out there trying to get as much experience as possible. They
certainly have, and they've got some great coaching staff on board as well. There's a couple of different combinations. The Federation has some teams. Toyota, there you see, these are the Toyota girls. They have some teams, and they have a great coaching staff from different countries as well as Japan. So you see a lot of the players are always looking for the staff that can help them get to where they want to go.
There's a perfect example of Japanese women's beach volleyball on that point. Just absolute desperation, full length, getting a ball up that they had no rights to get a play to, and then just the craft. Absolutely delightful. That is, of course, Kusano, the number one. So Japan out to the earliest of leads, 4-3. They'll go up to the northern end of the beach up against Fan Wang and Shinji Sha, the Chinese combination. This will be Sha coming back to serve, wearing the number 2. Don't know a lot about this Chinese outfit. Another young team they've got out there. They just keep producing athletes, Kerry. It's absolutely unbelievable, the Chinese program.
That's right. I mean, it's a big volleyball nation. Indoor volleyball is, you know, they are the top in the women's field, near the top in the men. They're just such a great volleyball nation. Obviously, they have a lot of athletes to choose from, a lot of people in China, and you know, they just get them very young through the school system, into the high school system, into the clubs, and then into the teams. So not sure how they decide who goes out onto the beach or who stays indoors, whether that's a player's decision or whether that's a federation decision, whether the coaches know best what you're suited to, because of course on the beach you need to be able to do everything. Hit like that, you need to be able to pass, whereas indoors you can kind of stay out of that part of it and maybe just be a setter or just be a backcourt player. So on the beach they need all the skills, and these 4 ladies have got them. I think this is going to be a very tight game.
4 points to 6 now. China though with the ball. Oh, and an ace. That'll do very nicely. So nice time. Fan Wang bringing up a point with a very easy serve. You see the replay here. She hits the ball nice and high, just catching the ball and dropping in. It's rare that the Japanese girls will be caught on their heels, though. You won't see that too often today, I'm sure. course, folks, if you've just joined us, hello and welcome. This is what we call a round of 16. So what that means, folks, is all of these teams have been playing pool play up until now. And the top 2 teams from each pool, plus a couple of lucky losers that were sort of the best placed third places in some of the pools, have come through into the final 16 teams. Then it becomes a sudden death tournament. And they play one match, and you win the match, you go through to the final 8, you lose it, you take a ninth place is what we say, and the winner of this match will go through to the quarterfinals. So it's a big moment. These squads really looking to keep going into this tournament. The women, their bronze and gold medal matches are tomorrow. That's a great serve down the middle from Xinyi Shah. Today, though, big day for volleyball in Australia, Kerry. Here on Saturday on Manly Beach, we've got the men's semi-finals and then gold medals. We've got entertainment, we've got fireworks. It should be hopefully a really special day.
It's going to be an amazing day. We've got lots of people coming down. Manly Beach is just waking up. The locals are doing their early morning walks, getting their coffees, seeing the action coming down. And these ladies have got it easy so far. That was an easy serve there for China, but I wouldn't say anything's easy on these serves. Both teams have very good float serves, both the Chinese and the Japanese. I know that when you're facing one of these serves, it doesn't look that difficult from here, but those balls really do float around a lot. So with a lot of pace, another tough serve. And Japan with their defense, like their defense normally is against a spike, but that time they had to chase for that set. She gets the set on the net, which is a great place, and then the only place to go is through the middle, and they know that. So through the middle is a great place to go if both players are back off the net.
So Kemi Nishibori there, the number 2 for Japan. Really nice technique, really compact, and a nice wrist snap. But the height, gee, you can't train height though, can you, Kerry? You know that better than most. You know, small and dynamic is good, but there's sometimes when height just beats everything, isn't there?
That's right. When you're playing a team like Japan that are shorter but are great in the backcourt, you really need to push your set. Everything's nice and tight to the net, so you've got that advantage. As soon as you're off the net a little bit, just like that play, you can drop off and have 2 players hit. It's so much more difficult. So that time China going over on the second touch and getting Japan off balance, which is another great tactic.
So 10-8 now, China just enjoying, as Kerry Pottas point out, the physical and the height advantage of being able to put the ball on top of the net. If other teams have got a tall blocker of their own, a ball right on top of the net can be a bit of a risk. You can get that ball shoved back down, but with Japan a shorter team, China, I think, are rolling the dice a little bit, as you say, Kerry, with that close set on the net. China enjoying the benefit of it. So you can see them in a bit of a timeout situation. The Japanese girls have let a couple slip, so they are taking a breather. The Japanese women's teams have been coming to Australia for many years. Kerry, you've trained against them over the years. I'm sure we've seen them come out on our national tour. They've been wonderful beach volleyball ambassadors for their country over many years.
Yes, one of my favourites. Does some work with some of the Japanese players. Yukiko Takahashi, if she's watching right now back in Japan. Hello,
Legend.
Yukiko. Sydney 2000 Olympian. But it's great to see Japan with such a big squad because, of course, like you said, the Olympics there in 2020. It's going to be a massive event. I'm sure the tickets will be sold out as soon as they go on sale. Japan love volleyball as well. They have a big indoor volleyball nation and following. Lots through their company club teams, like Toyota here today.
Yeah, we talked a bit about the Chinese program. Volleyball in Japan, broadly, indoor and beach has a really a good standing and a good kind of visibility, doesn't it? It plays an important role in this society.
It certainly does. Teamwork, really important. The Japanese culture is so polite, so respectful. They work together really, really well. And they're brought up playing volleyball through a very early age, in primary school through to high school, so very much like China as well. Something that's missing in Australia all over. I mean, we do it in some states, in some schools. We've got some great schools around the country, but not all schools are into volleyball. Such an amazing sport. I mean, I can talk for hours about how much it does for your life.
You're singing to the choir here,
Yeah.
but absolutely. I can't imagine the pressure of a home Olympics for these Japanese girls. I can't imagine what that must feel like.
Oh, they're going to love it. They're going to love it. You've got to turn the pressure around. I mean, they're under pressure now. They're down by 3 points, but I'm sure they're not going to be too worried about that. It's a good pressure. It brings out the best, I think, pressure like that. And if you take on too much, you know, having it in your home country, if you're going to think that that's going to be a bad thing, well, then it will be a bad thing. But if they can turn it around and feel like that the whole nation will be supporting them and lifting them onto the podium, then that's the sort of attitude and the thoughts that they need to be thinking as they lead in. But they've still got to qualify, so there's quite a few Japan squads of ladies and men that are looking to qualify for those spots.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they'll do that over the next
point. Yeah,
couple of years.
That the nation is qualified. You've got a spot as the country, but there's this internal struggle as to who that is that gets that spot, and they can also qualify through the World Tour, you know, in their own rider spot. So yeah, there's a lot of twists and turns to that tale. Right here, though, set number 1 of this match, women's round of 16 match. China leading Japan. It is the Chinese combination Fan Wong and Xin Yisha. They're now on the right of screen up against this Japanese combination Ayumi Kusano and Takemi Nishibori. Japanese trailing by a couple out of the technical timeout, but they, as Kerry Pottas has said, they don't look too perturbed. They are just getting into their work this morning. Chinese girls have been really solid, not a lot of errors, and that's just a nice example of the capability of the number 2, Xin Yisha. Good defensive pickup and getting it away.
I remember when Shah came out onto the World Tour, she was such a baby, I guess. She's almost experienced now. She's still not that old, but she's still quite experienced, and she'll find the spot for sure. So Japan really have to work hard to keep China off the net so they can drop. Otherwise, they're going to do something like that. Just hits around the block nice and hard to the lines, because we don't want to hit the ball in the middle of the court. We want to keep the ball outside to the lines.
Should point out, Xin Yisha is still only 20, so,
yes,
you know, she hasn't had a 21st birthday yet, so, you know, that
I think she was about 15 when she first started playing on the World Tour, and so that makes her quite experienced. 5 years on the World Tour, it's quite an experience. But now China still with the lead. Japan really having to fight here. They've got some tough float serves. You'll see this one. It's like a running float serve. Oh, she's going for the top spin jump serve this time. Seeing if she can see something different from China. Nice set. Ooh. Net touch. Net touch from China that time.
She gets no joy from the second referee, so she asked the first referee what his opinion was. I don't think we'll see an overrule. Didn't quite pick it up there, maybe her top, but yeah, hard to tell. Of course, the athletes can't contact the net at any stage during the course of the rally, so 11-14 Japan. Sneak one back. Nice pick up, no block, but well handled Japan. Can they convert? Just missing. Gee, I thought it almost tagged the baseline, but just missed. So nice work by the Chinese ladies, but they know they're going to have to put the ball down. You know, the Japanese girls will run everything down, and no ball clearly out. Clearly out. So China 15-11, a bit wasteful on the serve. Already seen one game this morning, folks. If you didn't catch it, Latvia, Austria. Really interesting, a 3-setter, so they've really played a tough game, the Austrian combination. Schütz and Hofer and Pleziushny were ultimately victorious. A little bit of confusion there, so 13-15 scoreboard sees Japan closing the gap. We played at 21 points, folks, with a margin of 2 required in this first set. So, and again, this is sudden death, as we said. So, you know, you can't think, Kerry, about saving petrol or the next game. You know, every game's a grand final from now on, really. Absolutely.
Sudden death means you're out if you lose. It's only 2 or 3 more games to get through to the finals. There's another great serve from Japan, but China are really doing well at getting that second touch and getting the ball up onto the net for the attack. So defending Japan's serve is almost like defending a spike sometimes. It's such a difficult serve to make. Let's see if China can do a tough one here. Nice and deep. Great set on the net. Trying to get a chance. Go deep, just out. So Shah hasn't hit many. Her partner's been hitting the brunt of most of the serves, so a little bit rusty, and just goes deep, sends that out out of court. So that was touch on the block. That's where that third touch rule comes in, but just out.
Yeah, it looked like a miss. It didn't look like she really snapped her wrist over the ball. So that was a bit of a skill error. So Japan still hanging on, but 17-14 now. China just seem to have an answer for most of the things at the moment. The height. And I guess, Kerry, we've talked a bit about the conditions, and it's pretty calm and the breeze not really affecting the ball. And I think if you've got a taller team and a shorter team, if the breeze isn't really affecting the ball, it really brings the taller team into it, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And that time there was no really place to go for Japan. She had to try and thread that needle down the line and she couldn't find it. So now China with a nice strong lead.
18-14 now. First set action. Hope you're enjoying the FIVB Beach Volleyball World Tour. Japan in the right of screen up against China in their customary red tops. Here's a transition opportunity. Japan can't convert. Can't help but think this is going to be hammered by the Chinese, and absolutely was. Wang and Xin Yisha.
One thing the Chinese are doing really well is anything that's kind of off the net a little bit, they're pushing it onto the net well for their partners to have a good hit. Makes it nice and easy for that attack. But again, they need to put that ball on the line, and they're doing that really well, because anything around the middle of the court, Japan are just going to eat up.
There you go. Back-to-back points as well. A little bit of a miscommunication there on the serve. So set point. China now absolutely in control of this first set of the match. 20 points to 14. This is a set point serve. China, in the blink of an eye, have leapt out. Oh, can she believe she missed that knuckleball? She couldn't believe it herself. So 21-14, there you have it, folks. The Chinese combination, Fan Wang and Xin Yisha, have taken the first set 21-14. You can see here, we've talked about the ball handling and the skill of the Japanese, but that's...
She saw that. She's like, oh my gosh, I saw that. It was no one home.
It was the right shot.
Absolutely, just not executed. And that's sometimes where you have to, like she did, have a bit of a smile. So she knew she picked the right shot. And I guess mentally sometimes it's more important to make the right choices. You can learn the technique, you can learn the skill, you can do the repetition to make sure you can get it in that spot. But sometimes, more importantly, it's the right choice that is more important.
Absolutely. So for the second set, Kerry, let's put your coach's hat on for a moment. If you were coaching the Japanese girls, is it about trying to push the Chinese now further off the net? They're getting in close. They just do seem to be dominating on top of the net as we thought they would. How do you push them back?
I would maybe try serving China to the sidelines deep a little bit more. I mean, the Japan are good at controlling their serve, maybe a line-to-line serve deep to the sidelines and really spread the attack out a little bit.
We've seen this a lot today. It must be humid. I don't know. I've been walking around. It seems pretty benign conditions.
Yeah.
We saw this in the previous game, and now in this one, the girls really, really sweaty. A lot of sunglass cleaning. I think it's making it look harder than it is out there. Maybe I'm misreading the conditions.
Well, we can feel a lot of the breeze because in Manly, where the spectators are, it's up onto a boardwalk, and so they're about sort of, I don't know, 3 metres up from the sand, and that gives a bit of protection from any sort of atmosphere from that side. And then you've got the corporate stands on the other side, so it's like being a little hot box right now for these players. So
Absolutely.
It's humid, the sun's beating right down on them. They're not getting really any relief from that, so it's probably maybe 4 or 5 degrees warmer down there.
Sure, absolutely. It's a pretty easy game from where I sit, that's for sure. That's the girls working really hard. China currently leading this one 3-1 and leading the match 1-0. That's a better inside-out play, I think.
Yeah,
girls.
She saw China move quite early to the line on that point, so it left 3/4 of the court open. She really can see. She has a quick little look, and then, yep, easily taken.
She delayed that shot as long as possible and made it look really, really simple, but that's actually a pretty good skill, it must be said. The height of Japan, see, at the net is a bit of a challenge, but they are putting a block up on this occasion with China. Have a lot of control. This ball might go down hard, and yeah, absolutely. Good to see the Japanese girls trying to put a bit of pressure on the net. Maybe that's an adjustment they've made, Kerry. They've realised that they do need to get a bit of block pressure up there somewhere. But again, not being able to really crush the ball
Well, again, that's a beautiful hit from China because they have to put the balls to the sidelines. They just have to, because anything that's going in what we used to call the gift circle. So if you can imagine drawing a big circle in the middle of that square box, that's the gift circle.
The gift circle?
We give them a gift if we put them in that circle. Anything around the circle is going to be really tough for people to play. So especially when you're playing Japan, you've got to set the ball tight and you've got to put it outside the gift circle.
Wow.
That just is a memory that I have from so
just
many years of playing Japan.
I've heard everything in the volleyball world. You come up with something special and new. That was both special and pretty new. That's a wonderful, hard-driven ball. Absolutely stunning. Fun one. Number one, just obliterating the set. It just sat up. Beautiful, clear blue sky. The ladies can really crush the ball. Incredibly athletic, all four athletes. Japan under a little bit of pressure on the serve receive, but nice court craft.
Well done there by Japan. So China's tactic there was to bring them nice and short, to get the play nice and tight to the net and hopefully get a block. But that time Japan was able to just get it past Wong's blocking hands. Going through the middle again. Easy play. So Wong opting for the play that beats the defender who's retreating back off the net. So you see these players have a variety of shots. They're hitting hard, they're hitting to spots, they're hitting placement, they're using a knuckle sometimes. And again, it's all about choice. Sometimes you can think you're making the right choice, like that. The
great
defender is right there.
Wow.
There we go, China with some great defense.
Shanisha working really hard, just really agile. The sand, you've heard Kerry Potters talk about it, not too deep. I'm not even sure I agree with it. I reckon the sand here at Manly is some of the deepest going around. For maybe if you're an elite like Kerry Potters, it doesn't feel too deep. But I'm
used to it now.
I'm pretty sure that this is some of the deepest beach going around. What that means, folks, is, you know, when they play a lot of these events, Kerry, don't they, indoors and manufactured courts, and they can get hard packed. But, you know, we're here on a natural beach. And there's a lot of sand underneath this court.
Absolutely, and just a few weeks ago here we lost a lot of sand. We had some storms, we had some very high tides, so the boys have worked really hard at pushing the sand back up so we could get the courts up and the corporate area up. So Baz Weidemeyer and his crew have done a wonderful job getting this beach ready for all these athletes.
It does absolutely look pristine. Good to see a lot of corporate support. The grandstands look great. The corporate areas look great. And throughout the course of the weekend, as we said, it's a big weekend for beach volleyball in Australia. To have the FIVB World Tour of Beach Volleyball here. We are in the second set. China playing Japan's scoreboard, currently reading 8-4 and 1 set to love. So China, gee, I just feel like they're still in second gear, Kerry. I don't feel like Japan have really super extended them yet. Is that unfair?
No, I think that's just how China look when they play. They make it look so easy. They're actually working really hard. I actually think China are playing very well. They're not stopping. They're going for everything. They're laying down, playing defense. They're turning and spinning and playing defense. They're hitting hard. They're making good choices. I actually think this is one of the better games that I've seen China play this week, and Japan are having to really, really work hard. So they'll be sitting there thinking, okay, what can we do? Because they're not playing badly. They're actually playing quite well as well, but China are just on top of them with a little bit more experience and height. So
do you change your tactics? Or do you just try and do what you were planning to do more consistently, or do you maybe try and change things up at this stage? Far from over, but they need to find another way to break down this Chinese.
Yeah, I don't think, as I said, I don't think Japan are playing particularly badly. So to play what they're doing a bit better is perhaps more difficult than making a switch in their strategy and seeing if they can make a few quick points. You know, their passing's good, their setting's good, they're hitting, but, you know, perhaps that could be more aggressive for sure.
Point to China. A fairly easily handled roll shot there. The Japanese team really not putting a lot of work on the ball, or a lot of authority on it, and the Chinese girls much taller. So bring up 9-4. Japan again from off the net. Chinese girls are ready, willing and able, just at the net. So here's an opportunity. Surely Japan can't bring it down. Too difficult. Ball behind your head to turn and try and hit a clean winner. So 10-4 at the side change. China just look like they've got an answer for every question at the moment.
Yeah, they certainly do. That was such a tough ball for Japan to try and hit and win. But yeah, China just really outplaying Japan right now. Very steady game.
Court conditions. It looks magnificent down there. It's a lovely day, as we've said. And the overpass, well, that's
That's
crucial.
not going to help. And that's where Japan can make sure that when they do side out, which is when they receive the ball and try and get the serve back, when they do side out, they do need to keep the ball off the net a little bit. It allows them to play a better shot. It takes a bit of the height away from the blocker. And this time having trouble. So again, China just keeping the pressure on. Big serves, big defense, big blocks. Nothing much here that Japan can do other than just refocus, try and get a good dig on the ball. Good set. That's a tough ball, well taken. That's a good set. Can she see a spot? China on that again. And that time,
better.
yeah, that's a great choice. But hitting it hard off the blocker's hands, unplayable.
I feel like they think we kind of deserved a bit of a break. We've hit some great shots, and China just picking everything up. Then finally, it's like, I'm just going to blaze. I'm going for hands. You like to see a bit of bravery rewarded, Kez.
Yeah.
And sadly, gosh,
that's not going to help.
I know you've played heaps, but you've coached heaps as well. When you see your team win that really crucial long-held rally, and then they go back and serve the error, that's
to the fan, to the people watching, it might look like, oh, can't you just get the ball in? Please. But I guess there's some thought behind it, or I hope there's some thought behind it, and they were really trying to risk something there. If it paid off, it would have been great.
Not to be. And then here it comes, China.
They've just gone up a gear, I think.
They have, haven't they? 13-5 becomes 14-5. I just can't see Japan finding a way back into this. I mean, China have looked like they're not going to make an error. They're not going to lose this match. Japan are going to have to do something really special to fight back into this, I fear. That's a good start. Solid. Steady.
Yeah. One thing China are doing well is keeping Japan deep on the serve as well. So they're having to pass the ball almost from the baseline and make a big pass to the net to set up an attack. So both teams using strategies that are trying to overcome some weaknesses. Now, that was just a silly error for Japan. They should have seen that coming.
Wow, but even a tough serve turns into a shanked winner for China. I mean, I don't think China... If they try and make an error, they can't at the moment. That, as you say, that should have been handled, but it hits the sand. So the technical timeout. China absolutely in control of this match. 1 set to love up and 15 points to 6 in the second. Japan, the combination of Ayumi Kusano and Takemi Nishibori, got a lot to do after this technical timeout. Fan Long and Xinyi Sha from China are already kind of 1 foot into the quarterfinals, if you ask me. Japan need to find a way. And they look at, they always look composed. They always look like they're enjoying their volleyball, but
they work super hard, Japan. They really, really do. They try and use every little ounce of their strengths, which is their ball placement and their ability to really play hard in the backcourt. But unfortunately today, right now, they're having trouble with their pass and set and hit. They're siding out. So in the last few points, Chinese have served really well and Japan unable to put that ball down. And I think their strategy against China was to perhaps play the little short balls, but China are touching everything that's short, which is, sometimes not that usual. So that's not a good set. That should have been played a lot better. You should see that she's like hitting herself in the head.
Yeah, but good to see Japan finding the back of the court. So they needed that. They needed to come out of that technical timeout and find a winner. Not the most orthodox, but hits clean sand. So Japan still have a hope. It's 7-15 down, but they need to get bunches of points, which they just haven't been able to do because China yes, they've made an error here or there, but they've always come back and won the next point. They haven't let, Japan get any momentum whatsoever.
Absolutely, and that one serve, just too easy. Wong just getting a beautiful pass set and being able to crush it down.
Absolutely, so 16-7 China. getting another opportunity to convert. Bunches of points have been crucial. And so where Japan have got 1 point, China have got 2, and that's really the story of the scoreboard. It's 17-7.
Good mathematics, Jonathan.
I've run out of fingers and toes now at 17. So it is now Fan Wong and Xinyi Sha, China 10 points up deep into the second set. The roll shot.
That's a better play, nicely done over the top. So the set was nice and tight. China had to stay in block, and then it makes it kind of easy to get over the top.
Yeah, kinda. At an elite international level, kinda easy, but I take your point. Japan serving through Ayumi Kusano.
Japan again serving through the middle of China.
And again, the side out, the serve reception, the side out, you think China are a bit out of shape, but they can find a winner. Without any net pressure, it seems it's going to be very hard to stop them. Xinyi Sha, 18-8 leaders. China out by 10.
That ball really floating.
Wow.
We could see that even from here.
Here's the opportunity for China again to convert. Hard-driven ball, no surprise. Fan Wong, well, just feasting on that ball. She's not going to get roofed. She knows that she can pretty much unload on a set that's there to be hit. Brings up another point again. Japan working hard, but, you know, a free ball to a team of this quality. Dig. I'll put you there or thereabouts. It doesn't even have to be a perfect set when you're setting a player of that height.
And unfortunately for Japan, they really should have played that free ball to the sidelines again, because when China are just playing in a small space, then they're just too good.
Not only are they too good, they are now in control of this match. 1-0 and 20 points to 8. The Chinese combination of Fan Wong and Xinyi Sha have got 12 match points. It is very hard to see Japan finding a way back into this match. China will serve for the win. Here's the opportunity. They've defended so well, they've attacked so well, and ultimately they've won so well. China, 21-8 in the second, have defeated Japan 2-0. So for Fan Wong and Xinyi Sha from China, they'll go through to the quarterfinals. Congratulations on 9th place. Ayumi Kusano, Takemi Nishibori out with a 9th. So China really, look, they controlled it from the first serve. Kerry, you rightly identified that the height differential might be a real challenge for Japan, and ultimately that was such a big factor in that match.
Yeah, just too good. Look at one. She's like, dong, dong, dong. She's tired. She's tired, and I think that's what Japan should have really tried to capitalise more on pushing China to the sidelines. And I think they'll look back at that video and say, yep, maybe we need to do that next time. And that's the beauty of it.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The next round of 16 matches been completed. China, Fan Wong, Xinyi Sha victorious over Japan, Ayumi Kusano, Takemi Nishibori. When we come back, the Australian women will be out on centre court.